Being an Arsenal fan is not that bad. There's nothing bad you can do to an Arsenal fan. It's interesting, right? How every decision which we make in our life has such profound consequences and impacts on us. Everyone today, and don't lie, can look back on a decision and they said, that decision really changed my life. How many of you can do that? It changes who we are as people, how we interact with others, and how we place ourselves in society. But more importantly than that, there are some decisions which really force us to go against the norm. They force us to go against society today as we know it. Those are the really, really challenging decisions, and everyone has made one of those. So, my story as Shiv Arora is a result of those stories, those choices, and those decisions which I made that led me to where I am. Of course, at 26 years old, I'm still very much a work in progress. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My shaping as Shiv started at school. It's the earliest collection of a choice and seeing what happens in society that made me who I am today. Like every Indian kid, when I was at school, I had two options. Be a doctor or be an accountant. Otherwise, no one is going to marry you. You guys understand the concept of arranged marriage, right? It's real. My parents, like 24 hours before they saw one another. But they're both here today, so. Funnily enough, it wasn't the career choices that stand out from school. It was something else. I went to a great school, but I really saw the stress on expenses for my education on my parents at 14 years old. Do you know that time when you run down the stairs and you're in school and you're going towards the lunch hall and you see your dad's car parked there, but you realize it's not there because of a disciplinary case, which was quite regular. But you're extending term fees. Every parent has gone through that. But you realize that at a young age. But would I have had it any other way? No. All parents do that for their kids. It's an interesting misconception which society has that anyone who goes to a great school or goes to a private school has a lot of money. In reality, it's not. A lot of people are making difficult choices to put their children there. But what did it teach me? And what have my parents taught me? They taught me the value of money. And they taught me that you should never, ever, ever stop working until you can give someone the best that they deserve and the best that you can give. Second, what shaped me again? It was growing up in a multicultural environment. I was born and raised in Kenya. Some people say it's a lie because I can't string together even one sentence in Swahili. But we try once in a while. But born and raised in Kenya, in an Indian house, studied in a British school, university in England, jobs in London and Dubai, and then after my 22nd birthday, I decided to return back home. But it was only when I moved back home when I realized about the circumstances that I took for granted. It's only then when I realized that 80% of people who live in Nairobi were never actually even born in Nairobi. It's really strange. It's like, where were you born? Like, I was born here, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it makes you realize that for so many of us here, we live in a bubble. We live in a place where we don't really appreciate where we are. But it made me open and made me understand that if someone can leave Shags and come all the way to Nairobi to look for work, there must be something that I can learn from them. So what did I learn from those first two experiences? As with every parent who wants to see the best for their children, you should never settle. If you're living and born outside Nairobi, but you know that that's where the opportunity is, you leave and you come to Nairobi. You never settle. For me, Where I've never settled has been in my professional career. To say that it's been a roller coaster, as of now, would be putting it lightly. But I'll give you a little bit of a flavor. So after leaving university, I got jobs and work experience in London and Dubai with Citibank and Merrill Lynch. But it was different. Imagine being one of 150 graduates. You're all taken into a room. You're given a 2-3 day induction. But no one there has the passion for Africa that you have. Everyone there has lived in such a big pond, they can't see that there's opportunity to be made elsewhere. Another thing, for those who have been to England and been to Dubai, there's only 2 conversations which you have. Obviously, one is about Arsenal. The other one's about the weather. In England, it's always cold and it's raining, and Dubai is always hot. So after a while, it gets monotonous. But when I realized I was not making a difference, I decided to move back home. Now, for those of you who know Indian families, you can imagine that phone call. When your mom is telling you, but all kids go and then they don't come back, what are you doing? Stay. But anyway, came back. Got a great job with Treasury in Citibank. At that time, it was like the best banking job, probably still is. But the thing with Citibank here is that you left England and you moved to Little England. Everyone who works there was born in Nairobi, right? So they were the minority. They all studied abroad. They all moved back home. So really, it was the same thing that I was running away from. It was at that point where I realized I didn't even like banking. Maybe it was the people, I don't know. But at that point, I don't even like banking anymore. Again, soap drama. But banking pays so well. You're going to do so well here. Anyway, Mom, I need to move. So I left at that time what was probably the best paying banking job in the country and moved as an intern to Britam Asset Managers, where I didn't even have the guarantee of a job. Question started again. Now what is Britam? What do they even do? Citibank is well known. And which Indians work there? Do you know anyone? No. But I decided to move anyway. And Britam was great because it was here where I realized what a bubble people live in. I got to experience a different side of Kenya. I saw people who talked about politics, but from a local perspective. I saw people who knew about different areas in Kenya and were willing to teach me. It's where I learned about investment management, what I always wanted to do. But it also taught me about the life in Kenya for those who have not grown up in a little bubble which we end up creating for ourselves. After a year, the team at Saiton, who is there now, who was formerly at Britam, had a fallout with the board. So we decided to leave. And we decided to leave and form Saiton. Remember I said there's that one life-changing decision which you make? This was one of them. Because it's when it really got interesting. Just a few months after leaving Britam to form Saiton, we got sued in what was at that time Kenya's largest corporate fraud case. Yeah, 23 years old and 8 billion shilling lawsuit. Yeah, can laugh about it now, but whew. It was difficult. But it was not the lawsuit that was the problem, it was the harassment. I remember one day, it was Elizabeth and Patricia and I who had founded Saiton, and we were in the office, and CID comes to the office and says, oh, we want to investigate what's going on, and we want to ask you a few questions. So we were naive at the time. Well, Liz and I were, Patricia was not, because she was fighting. But they whisked us away, took us to CID headquarters, which is like a maze. Even if someone knows you're there, you'll never be found. Spent the whole day there being asked questions, and then were finally taken to Gigiri police station at night on charges we didn't even know. And that night I remember I was so scared. I think the police realized as well. So they let me sleep in the ladies' cell in between. Yeah, in between Patricia and Liz. Like right in between. But again, we can laugh about it now, but there are those decisions which we make, which are made easier by the people who we make those decisions with. Right? With Edwin, Liz, and Patricia, when I grow up, I want to be like each and every one of them. Or I want to be the perfect mix of them. You find those people who motivate you to work hard every day and to be a better person and really force you to get up in the morning. But what have these lessons taught me? It's that you can never settle. But most importantly is that there comes a time when you need to make difficult decisions and be ready to take the heat of it. There are going to be those decisions that are going to change your life forever, but they're not going to be easy. So you have to stand back and say, I'm ready to face the heat of this decision. Today we're doing well and the cases are over and we're better as people, but it was not easy decisions. So going forward, I know I still have a lot of decisions to make. And difficult decisions still have to be made. But I'm ready to stand and take the heat of it all. So I hope when we leave here today, everyone's going to look and say, which is that one decision which has caused me to take the heat of it all? Thank you.